There's an infinite amount of knowledge that's available to be learned on the internet, especially a seemingly innocuous website like Wikipedia. So much good information is on there, so much positive, happy things to learn. However, it might surprise you to learn that there are some Wikipedia pages that are beyond the opposite of rainbow and sunshine, some that are straight up beyond creepy. Here are the 10 creepiest Wikipedia pages you shouldn't read. Number 10 is Unit 731. The Wikipedia page describing Unit 731 makes for a chilling and difficult read. Unit 731 was a Japanese facility specializing in biological and chemical warfare research during World War II. Some claimed at the time that Unit 731 was researching chemical compounds, but the truth was harrowing. It was discovered that Unit 731's primary mode of research was to experiment on live human beings. This included cultivating dangerous diseases such as the plague, and then injecting these diseases directly into unwilling participants. The scientists at Unit 731 would then study up close how the plague and other diseases ravaged the bodies of the prisoners. Thousands of men, women, and children were brutally killed there, only for the scientists to be rewarded after the war and secretly welcomed into the United States to share their expertise. Number 9 is Maura Murray. Wikipedia is littered with terrifying descriptions of real-life disappearances. One of the most chilling describes what happened to Maura Murray. In February of 2004, Maura informed her boss and her professors where she was studying that she had to attend a family emergency, so she would have to take at least a week off. She then crashed her car on February 9th on a country road with no cell phone reception in Hampshire. A bus driver passed and asked if she needed assistance, but Maura pleaded with the driver to drive on. When the driver drove on and finally had cell phone service, he phoned the police and alerted them to the crash. The police found the car, but there was no sign of Maura. But most interesting of all is that there was no family emergency in the first place. To this day, no one knows what happened to Maura. Number 8 are the Hands Resist Him. The Wikipedia page exploring the Hands Resist Him case will give you sleepless nights. In 1972, artist Bill Stoneham painted a picture known as the Hands Resist Him. The painting shows a young boy standing in front of a glass-paneled door. Next to him, there's a life-sized doll of a girl standing. Behind both of these figures, pressed against the dark glass, are many ghostly hands. In the year 2000, the painting was put up for auction after the original owner of the piece died. According to the seller of the painting, there was a curse attached to the ominous picture. They claimed that the hands that pressed against the glass moved, and that sometimes the young boy and the doll would leave the painting to haunt those nearby. Stories still persist that the painting and its inhabitants continue to terrorize anyone who dares buy the picture. Number 7 is the Melafide Man. The Melafide Man Wikipedia page is a rabbit hole you do not want to go down. Melafide Man is a horrific delicacy which was used as a powerful medicine hundreds of years ago in China. And there are rumors still that the practice has not completely died out. Melafide Man involved steeping a human body in honey so that the flesh would take on a sweet taste. Bizarrely, this process of mellification often began before death. The person to be mellified would either be forced or volunteer to eat nothing but honey prior to their death. The diet itself would eventually prove fatal. After this, the body would be placed in a stone coffin filled with honey. It would then be left to rot for 100 years. The body and the honey would melt down into a sweet substance, which would be then sold as a health food in street markets. Read up on this at your own peril. Number 6 is Jeannie. Jeannie was born in 1957 in California. At just 20 months of age, her father concluded that she was mentally deficient. But instead of seeking out treatment, her father locked her in her room. She was never allowed to leave, spending her nights strapped to a bed and her days strapped to a child's toilet. Jeannie experienced the first 13 years of her life in that room. When Jeannie was finally discovered, not only did it shock the neighborhood surrounding her home, but it shocked the world. No one even knew that she had existed. Although Jeannie soon learned limited language, the sheer trauma that she had suffered meant that she ended up moving from foster home to foster home, from treatment facility to treatment facility, never knowing the joy of growing up, which every child should experience. Number 5 is Mayhem. The Norwegian band Mayhem's Wikipedia page makes for some twisted reading. Founded in Oslo in 1984, the band was part of the black metal scene. Their live performances were notorious. The band would often mutilate their own bodies as they performed, scarring themselves in a twisted form of entertainment for those who enjoyed the darker side of the black metal scene. In 1991, their vocalist took his own life, leaving behind a note which described how he did not believe that the life he was living was real. Some now believe that the vocalist, known as Dead, was suffering from Cotard's syndrome, where a person believes that they are already dead. One of the band members took a picture of the suicide note and then used it in promotional material, causing further controversy and anger. Number 4 is June and Jennifer Gibbons. June and Jennifer Gibbons grew up together in Wales in the 1960s and 70s. They were identical twins and became known as the Silent Twins. The reason for this is that they only communicated with each other and no one else. They even developed their own language which no one else could understand. After being unsuccessfully separated, the twins spent several years in isolation together, living primarily in their bedroom. They would make stories and elaborate plays using a cast of dolls. After committing a number of crimes, the girls were sent to a psychiatric hospital where they spent 14 years, still refusing to speak with anyone. Jennifer then passed away due to an unexplained inflammation of the heart. Immediately, June began speaking, claiming her sister had voluntarily died to set her free. Number 3 is the Goiânia accident. The Wikipedia page for the Goiânia accident is shocking. The incident took place on September 13, 1987, in the Brazilian city of Goiânia. There's not much out there that's creepier than an abandoned hospital, but one such building in Goiânia harbored a dark secret. Though the building was crumbling, inside there remained radiotherapy materials which were highly radioactive. As locals explored the hospital looking for anything of value, they found the materials and removed them, not knowing what they were. 4 people subsequently died, and over 100,000 people were later checked for radiation contamination. Out of those, 249 locals were suffering from severe radiation poisoning. During the cleanup operation, entire levels of topsoil in the city had to be removed, and many homes were demolished and abandoned. Number 2 is Stone Man syndrome. Stone Man syndrome is one of the most horrific diseases known to mankind, and the Wikipedia page will send a shiver up your spine. The disease hijacks the body's ability to heal, using its regenerative capabilities to cause damage. It's a connective tissue disease and affects tendons, muscles, and ligaments. Sufferers of Stone Man syndrome further the disease by moving. Each movement causes tiny tears in the body's joints, which usually self-repair. However, instead, Stone Man syndrome causes tissue to grow bone and other stone-like materials. Any injury can prove catastrophic, as the joints of the body are filled with these materials, locking them in place forever, turning the person into a living statue. There's no known cure, and any attempt to remove the material from a person's body only speeds up the process. And number 1 is a Dilla Dub. The events surrounding Dilla Dub's last moments are laid out in her Wikipedia page. Dilla was a 17-year-old Scottish girl who was holidaying in Germany in 1851. While exploring an abandoned castle, she fell and found herself trapped inside. No one knew she was there, and her family returned to Scotland heartbroken. In 1860, one of the towers was being repaired when workmen found a skeleton near the top of the tower. With it, they discovered her diary, which recorded her nightmarish end. She had climbed up the tower, but a set of rotten stairs collapsed. She wrote that she was confident she would be rescued, as when she waved out of an open window at passers-by, they waved back. However, no one came, and she wrote of trying to jump from the tower in desperation, but in her weakened state, she was unable to move. 10 Wikipedia pages that will give you nightmares if you read them. Highly recommended that you don't, but something tells me that a few of you will look these up. Sweet dreams.